I'm always careful in what I say, but we've got David Walmsley from the Globe and Mike Power from the Sun here. I've learned, of course, in the short time that I've held this office, 4 months, that that's where the real power lies. You may think people who are elected to high office have a lot of power, but it's really the people in the newspapers and the radio stations. John Boer, I mean, they really hold the key to all power around here. I am so happy to be part of the official launch of the 5th annual CIBC Trophy Mayor's School Cricket Tournament presented by SEMA Canada. This is not just something where it's yet another event that appears on my calendar that I've never been to before. Before I was the mayor, I've been coming to this for at least a part of it that's held in Sunnybrook Park for a number of years, and it's been so much fun to do. And if you go back and see how far it's come, and John made reference to this in terms of the number of people that are here today and how big this whole ceremony and the tournament itself has become, it really, the pilot project began in 2011, and it was with a view to giving the sort of the thriving school cricket movement, as it were, an official tournament that it could call its own and have as a prestigious sporting event. And John made reference to this as well. I mean, it's something that's a learning experience for people who are in public life, but I think it's still unknown to most of the people who live in Toronto just how important a sport cricket is to how many people in this city. It's now tens, I would say even maybe hundreds of thousands of people who live in the city who would place cricket way ahead of other sports on their interest list, both as spectators and as players. And one of the challenges that's before us, and again, John made reference to this, is helping to show leadership in working with people in the community to find places to play cricket. And I don't mean just places where you do a ramshackle job of it, but good places that are of a quality you'd expect in a city like Toronto, and where the people in the communities that play and want to play cricket have the right to expect that. I will say thank you when I'm up here today to those who've been patient enough over the years, and a number of them are here. They've been patient enough to teach people like me and John the basics of the game such that we can participate without complete humiliation in the annual event that takes place at Sunnybrook Park as part of this tournament. I can even say now that I sort of understand some of the rules beyond understanding a little bit about how to play the game, both a little bit, and they've taught us that so that we can play in this annual event with each other. John and I played on the media team when I was in that world, and played against such worthy opponents as Doug Ford. And even though Doug Ford, I guess, is technically not qualified to be on the political team anymore, I'm willing to see that to encourage you to extend a special invitation to him to come out this year, only because I enjoyed the experience of being able to give him a small pat on the behind with a cricket bat. And having that experience again would be if I say a pleasure, you'll understand what I mean by that. You know, sports is a very important part of building a great community anywhere in the world, but including here in Toronto. Whether you look at our playgrounds, our recreational sports leagues, all the people who are involved in sport of one kind or another, it's a vital part of the cultural fabric of the city. It's a universal, kind of activity that we can all engage in together. Even if we don't speak the same language or have the same background, we can all participate with each other in sports. And my experience, all kidding aside, of having people who are leaders in our South Asian community teach me some of the basics of cricket is really an example of what happens, I think, in this city day after day with different sports like kabaddi that people don't generally play here. Cricket, which was played here but only by a very small group, and now it's a very large group, and we're teaching each other about these important parts of our lives. And cricket, of course, is an important part of the cultural heritage of many, many people who live in Toronto. And the young cricketers, and many of whom are here today, are having that as an important part of building a healthy lives for themselves, and I hope are sharing that with some of their schoolmates who haven't grown up in an environment where cricket is important. This year is going to be a great year for sport in Toronto, between the cricket tournament, which will be hugely successful again, but also with the Pan Am and Parapan Am games coming to Toronto. I think it's going to be a very special year. And so I just want to conclude by saying thank you to those who had the initiative to start this a number of years ago. Thank you to those, and it's many of the same people who keep it going. That includes, of course, the sponsors, people like SEMA, CIBC, the school boards, both the TDSB and the Catholic School Board. And I want to say a word of thanks as well to our own Department of Parks and Recreation, They are people who also play an important part in making this tournament a success. They do a great job looking after a part of our city that's also really important, which is our parks and recreational and outdoor spaces. And I can only say that I'm looking forward, as always, to the official opening of the tournament and to trying to make sure that whatever team I'm allowed to play on this year is able not to embarrass itself on the cricket pitch. So thank you very much for coming to City Hall, and good luck and congratulations.